you suffer from pain or swelling here on the side of your wrist just below your thumb? Does that pain get way worse and start shooting down into your thumb or forearm anytime you try and grip or pinch objects or lift your kids up? Well, if so, you're gonna love this video because I'm about to share a simple 4-part strategy for de Quervain's Tenosynovitis, also known as mommy thumbs. Before we get to the strategies for resolving this problem, I wanna quickly review the local anatomy and talk about what's actually going on at your thumb and wrist. So with de Quervain's Tenosynovitis, what's happening at the most basic level is that a pair of muscles in your forearm, the extensor pollicis brevis and the abductor pollicis longus, have been asked to do more work than they are currently capable of doing. In other words, the demand on those tissues has exceeded their capacity or fitness level, and as a result of that excess demand, day after day after day, you end up with micro trauma or little tiny tears in those two muscles, their tendons, as well as the sheaths that surround them. This leads to inflammation, swelling, and pain in all of those tissues. And there's a super simple test that you can take to help determine whether or not you've got this problem. All you need to do is stick your arm straight out in front of you like this, tuck your thumb into your palm, wrap your fingers around your thumb like that, and then point your hand down towards the floor. Now, if when you do that, you get pain right here on the side of your wrist, just below your thumb, that would be a positive test and a strong indication that you've got de Quervain's Tenosynovitis. Strategy number 1 is to release the opposing muscle groups. There's a strong tendency with de Quervain's Tenosynovitis to chalk up all of the irritation in this area to excess demand. But the truth is that in many of these cases, there are multiple factors that have contributed to the development of this condition. And one of the things that I consistently see over and over again that sets people up for problems in this area is a muscular imbalance where the muscles that are responsible for closing the hand are way stronger and tend to overpower the muscles that are responsible for opening the hand. And so what we want to do here in strategy number 1 is to begin to restore balance to those two muscle groups. And to accomplish that, we're going to focus on releasing the powerful muscles here that are responsible for drawing the thumb inward on the hand. The only thing that you're going to need for this is a tennis ball, racket ball, or myofascial release ball. To perform this technique, take your ball and set it on a firm surface. A table or a countertop works really well for this. You're then going to take the thenar pad on your hand, which is this raised area here, and you're going to place it on top of the ball. Now it's important that you keep a straight arm here and you lean on the ball to apply pressure rather than using muscular effort with a bent elbow. You want to make this as easy on yourself as possible. So straight elbow, straight shoulder, and just use your body weight to apply pressure. Make sure that you don't push so hard though that it causes pain. From there, I like to place my 4 fingertips on the ground, keep the thumb in the air, and then just go side to side across that tissue, working the ball from the top to the bottom of that thenar pad. Now, one of the things that's really nice about using a myofascial release ball for this technique is that once you get good at doing it with this larger size ball, you can switch to a smaller ball with a more firm texture, and that'll allow you to get a deeper release using the exact same technique. Alternatively, you can always use more pressure, but at a certain point, it's nice to have a smaller ball that allows you to get a little bit more concentrated force. But where you're aiming is from the edge of the thumb to this line across your hand here, and you're just going in a back and forth fashion. About 30 to 45 seconds, and you're all set. Strategy number 2 is to get the affected muscles to calm down. In many cases of de Quervain's Tenosynovitis, the excitability or muscular tone in those two muscles in the back of the forearm has been ramped way up to try and protect those areas from further damage. The body's kind of hanging on for dear life. But one of the unfortunate side effects of that increase in tone is that it can increase pain and discomfort. And it certainly doesn't lend itself to reducing inflammation or swelling. And so getting those tissues to relax is an important step towards recovery. My favorite way of getting those two muscles on the backside of the forearm to let go and relax is to get in there using the same tennis ball, racket ball, or myofascial release ball to perform some gentle self-massage. Now, if you do this technique right and you go slow, it'll help to not only turn the tone of those muscles way down, but it'll also increase circulation and improve nutrient delivery to those tissues that are so desperately in need of repair. The only thing you're going to need for this technique is a tennis ball, racquetball, or myofascial release ball, and a wall. Once you've got that, you're going to position yourself parallel to the wall with the affected side of your body closest to the wall. You're then going to take your ball, and the spot that you're aiming for is here at the distal end of your forearm, just above your wrist, dead center. There's a bony landmark here, this bump that's sticking up on the pinky side of the wrist that can help make sure that you're in the right spot. Just find that, slide to the middle of the wrist, and then slide up about 1 to 2 inches. And as you can see from what I've drawn here, that's going to put you right into the muscle belly of the extensor pollicis brevis. So set the ball right there. Make sure that you're in between the two forearm bones with the ball in the soft groove that's right in the middle of them. So set the ball there, then place the ball up against the wall, use your arm to hold it in place. It's important with this technique that you stay as relaxed as possible. So you want to make sure that you're holding that ball in place, not with muscular effort by pushing your arm real hard against the wall. Instead, you want to place that opposite hand up against the wall for support and then lean in using body weight to hold that ball in place. And from there, you're going to roll that ball dead center in the middle of the forearm from the starting point up to the middle of the forearm and then back to the starting point. Going nice and slow, only applying as much body weight pressure as you can without inflicting pain or discomfort. The actual rolling itself is created by bending the knees back and forth for 30 to 45 seconds, and you're all done. And the spot that you're aiming for on the forearm, again, is the muscle bellies here of these two muscles in between the two forearm bones. So you're rolling from this spot up to the midpoint on the forearm and just back and forth right through that area. Strategy number 3 is to build strength in the affected muscles. Remember, it was too much demand being placed on those tissues that led to this problem in the first place. And so by increasing those muscles' capacity to do work, we can make sure that they are better able to handle that demand so we don't have these kinds of problems going forward. There are 2 exercises we're going to use to begin building strength in those muscles on the backside of your forearm. The first is isometric thumb extension. To perform this exercise, you'll hold your hand up like this in an open palm position. From there, you're going to spread the thumb away from the other fingers and tilt the entire hand towards the thumb side of the wrist as far as it'll comfortably go, maintaining that open palm position the entire time. And then from there, you're going to take your opposite hand and you're going to use 1 or 2 fingers right underneath the base of the thumb where there's a bony bump, and you're going to begin pushing upward, almost as if you're trying to close that thumb towards the other fingers. And your job is to resist that upward push and hold that open palm, spread thumb, hand tilted position for 15 seconds continuously. The second exercise is isometric thumb abduction, and the setup for this one is very similar to the first. Hold your hand up like so, spread the thumb away from the other fingers just like that as far as it'll comfortably go. In addition to that, you want to push the palm of the hand as far forward as you can. So think the opposite of bringing your thumb towards the pinky. Push that palm into a prominent position, really spreading the hand wide. And then I also like to tilt the wrist backward into extension. From there, you're going to take your opposite hand again behind the base of the thumb, and you're going to try and push your thumb towards the pinky finger like that. And your job in this one is to resist that forward pressure. Keep the palm of the hand pressed forward for 15 seconds continuously. An important thing to mention here is that performing these exercises should not hurt. So you never want to push so hard with your opposite hand that it forces you out of proper position or causes any pain or discomfort in the affected wrist. And the fourth and final strategy is activity modification. And this one is absolutely crucial. Because if you can find a way to give those tissues in the back of your forearm a little break so that they've got the time they need to repair themselves, the likelihood of you overcoming de Quervains will be increased significantly. And so keeping that in mind, what I want to share with you now are my 4 rules of thumb for modifying daily activities with de Quervains. Rule number 1 is to use a palms up lifting or carrying position as opposed to a pinch grip position. This grip is an absolute disaster for people with de Quervain's. It puts stress right on the problem area. By switching to a palms up position, you can eliminate that stress. Rule number 2 is that for people with de Quervain's, an open-handed lifting or carrying position is always better than a closed-handed position. So say, for example, that I had a bag of groceries that I needed to bring in from the car. Instead of using those handles at the top of the bag, which force you into a closed-handed carrying position like this, which can put a lot of stress on the problem area, I would position the bag upright, squat underneath it, slide my hand underneath that bag using an open-handed position, and then lean the bag against my torso for balance and support. Rule number 3 is to leave the thumb out of it, and this is for those times when you just have to use a closed-handed grip to lift or carry something. And in those instances, what I have people do is transition away from a traditional closed fist where the thumb is wrapped around the other fingers to a hook grip position where you're using the 4 fingers only and they should be hanging loosely along your side. This position completely spares the thumb and will take a lot of stress off of that problem area. And the 4th and final rule is that 2 hands are better than 1. One of the things that gets people with de Quervain's into a lot of trouble is performing little, seemingly insignificant activities that we've done a million times before, not realizing that they're doing it in a way that repetitively traumatizes and insults the damaged tissue. A classic example of this is grabbing a pot or a pan off of the stove, and if you come at that handle in the traditional way, you're using a grip that irritates the problem area every time you do it, which means it's a setback every time you do it. Instead, what you want to do is rotate that pot or pan on the stove, come at the handle using an underhand grip like this, and then bring in your opposite hand for support. Now, obviously, you want to make sure that you've got a really high quality set of oven mitts when doing this, but it can help take a lot of stress off of that problem area. And the combination of increased awareness plus a willingness to apply some of these simple strategies to activities in your daily life can really help speed you on your way to a permanent resolution. For those of you who are interested, the myofascial release balls that I use and recommend are the rounds. They're made by a company called Rad Roller, and they conveniently come in this set that features 3 different sizes and densities. It gives you a ton of options for releasing different tissues throughout the body. I'll put a link for those and a discount code for you guys in the description down below this video. Beyond that, I just want to thank you so much for watching. Make sure to hit that thumbs up button before you head out of here, and I'll see you next time.